We discuss the aftermath of the U.S. presidential election and what impact it will have on Israel and the Middle East with CBN senior editor John Waage in our Jerusalem studio. John, great to be with you on Jerusalem Dateline. You've been doing a lot of analysis on the election right now. Talk about voter fraud. And a lot of people, and this is seen around the world, a lot of people may think of voter fraud of a third world country or a dictatorship, but not necessarily the United States. Is that really a possibility?
It certainly is a possibility, Chris, and in fact the President has tweeted out that the voter fraud is going to be the scandal of our times, is what he called it. And the administration has lawsuits out in at least 5 different states, and there may be a 6th before it's all over, as this counting comes down to an end, but is being dragged out. It's something that's it's unsettling for people, and certainly the administration warned about it for months ahead of time, and legally they seem to be prepared for it. They have a team in place, and just today Nevada seems to be another place that's going to see a lawsuit. So you know, it's a serious issue.
Right. You know, John, we've done stories on this, but you know, between a potential President Biden and a President Trump, diametrically opposed views on the Middle East, what impact could a Trump administration or a potential Joseph Biden administration have on Israel and the Middle East?
Yeah, this is one of the areas of the world, Chris, where the contrast is so stark, because President Trump and Prime Minister Netanyahu have launched this diplomatic initiative that's really transforming the Middle East with all the agreements with the Gulf states and now nations in Africa and Malawi getting ready to move its embassy to Jerusalem after the United States led with that with President Trump. I mean, this is a course on which they've been embarking for 3 years now, and to change that in midstream, remember, if there is a Biden administration, his administration is going to be under intense pressure to ratchet up the hostility toward Israel, certainly by his left flank. Now, I know there are Israelis who are saying, you know, they know Joe Biden from the past and everything. He's a friend of Israel and all of that. But when you get down to policy, that policy is likely to be dictated by Biden's left flank. And so the stakes are really high for Israel and for all these nations that have embarked on this new course in the Middle East.
And talk to us, too, about the potential of an Iranian nuclear deal being renewed by a Biden administration.
Well, that's another huge one, because Biden has promised it more than once that that's what they will do. They will re-enter and resubmit to that agreement. And of course, the sanctions on Iran have been having devastating consequences. The world has kind of faced up to the fact for the last 3 years that the Iran deal is over and done with. And now Biden promises to bring it back, which means the rise of globalism, the rise of return to Palestinian talks. I mean, I think you would have all of that in a Biden administration. So once again, the contrast is extremely stark.
There's so many people praying not only for the election, but post-election right now. Talk about the spiritual dimension of what's going on right now.
Yeah, you know, Chris, everybody in the United States has been talking about the demographics of, you know, the African Americans, Hispanic vote, women's vote. One group that hasn't really been heard from is the demographic is intercessors. And intercessors are praying and mobilizing like I've never seen before on an issue. They are praying around the world. They're praying for Israel. They know that Israel is central to the Lord's plans for this entire earth, not just the United States and not just Israel. And so there are all kinds of prayer efforts going forth on social media and in rooms, just people's homes and places, and in churches. So I expect that effort will not let up as the voting is counted and we see the difficulties that are you know, being presented. And so, you know, it's almost a cliche, but it is Scripture. Pray for the peace of Jerusalem. That's an extremely important thing, and that's what the watchmen on the walls are doing. That this issue will be settled by the laws of the land, that the policies that will further the Lord's plans for Israel and the Middle East will take precedence over everything else.
Well, John, great to be with you. Thanks for the political analysis, geopolitics, as well as the spiritual angle that is so important. And I would recommend all the people around the world and the United States, as John recommended, pray for the peace of Jerusalem throughout this time. Thanks so much,
Chris.
John.
Thank you.
Alpha Omega.